We back with another video. So this one is going to be coming from Nostalgic, and it's going to be talking about the biggest problem with the Space Jam sequel. Now, just to give you all a little history lesson here, the year is 1996. It's me, my father, my cousin Monica, and my cousin Patrice. He took us to Sunrise Movie Theater, Green Acres Mall, Queens. If you know, you know. He took us there to go see Space Jam in '96, and it was a vibe. You know what I'm saying? And when the movie came to VHS, my mom's took me to, we went to Rite Aid. I just got out of school that day. Took me to Rite Aid, got me the VHS tape. And then first grade, I told my first grade teacher, yo, I got Space Jam on tape. I want to bring it to the class. And yeah, we watched Space Jam in class. This was back when we used to have the TV on the thing that you roll into the classroom. That's how old I am. So yeah, it was definitely a vibe. Space Jam was one of them ones. But we're going to let this video tell us what's going on and why the sequel wasn't all that good. I did watch the sequel. I wasn't too impressed. But make sure you like, sub to the channel. Let's get to the video.
Guys ready?
I'm set to take it to the rack, Jack.
Those monsters wish they'd never been born.
Guys, let's just go out and have fun.
Yeah. This is Space Jam, and this is Space Jam: A New Legacy.
We gotta think out of the box.
There's only one basketball and bugs. Don't do nothing loony.
Nothing loony.
Look, we can all be honest, most of the love for the original film comes from the fact that it was tied to an almost fever-pitch cultural obsession with Michael Jordan. It's not that great of a work of art. Conversely, there's got to be some fun in taking LeBron James and running him through similar paces, right? He literally shares the number 23. Can't we do something with that? If anything,
Yo, I'm going to tell y'all the problem right off the rip. LeBron is just not a good actor. Now, people got on Michael Jordan about his acting. I don't really remember this because I wasn't watching the news back in 1996. You know what I'm saying? I just was happy to see the movie because it was Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? But just off those clips there, like I was like, his acting is terrible.
It shouldn't be that hard to make a Space Jam movie that actually has a quality story, right? Wrong. Somehow, Space Jam 2 did the impossible. It's definitively worse than the original. Space Jam: A New Legacy is one of those movies where you spend the entire runtime just asking yourself, what went wrong here? On paper, this should be a fun children's film romp. LeBron has been in the spotlight since he was 18 years old. He has an amazing court presence, previous on-screen experience, and a public persona that's easily identifiable. And yet, literally none of that makes it to the screen. The film is a mushy, cynical mess. LeBron isn't even in the whole movie. He's literally just an animated character for a good third of the runtime. How did this movie fail so gloriously when the original isn't all that great to begin with? Well, believe it or not, there were actually multiple.
Yo, what is this with people saying that the first Space Jam wasn't all that good of a movie? Like, what? You see, y'all obviously didn't watch cartoons, or you just don't know a good movie. Space Jam, the first Space Jam, was a good damn movie. I mean, for goodness sake, we got a pair of Jordans that we call Space Jams. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it was a good movie. And yeah, I know some going to say, well, he had those sneakers on in the movie.
Attempts at making a Space Jam sequel prior to A New Legacy. One of them was going to star NASCAR phenomenon Jeff Gordon and be titled Race Jam. Another was going to presumably have another genius pun title and star legendary golfer Tiger Woods. However, the right concoction of on-screen talent and studio enthusiasm never seemed to manifest. Not even the great Tony Hawk could grab the brass ring of a green light. His sequel was reportedly going to be titled Skate Jam. Ultimately, all of that struggle and unfulfilled kinetic energy can be felt behind the scenes of Space Jam: A New Legacy. The entire film feels simultaneously completely unnecessary and also noted to death by an army of vampire-fanged corporate executives.
Look at him, look at that face, he's speechless, he loves it.
It's so obvious that LeBron did not view this movie as anything other than a commercial endeavor. There's almost no part of his real story housed within the shambling husk of a film. Even his literal family is erased from the narrative. The film opens with a young LeBron James being gifted a Game Boy and being scolded for being distracted from the game of basketball, which will inevitably change his life. We jump to modern day and we see the adult LeBron, now a globally recognized superstar. He has a young son named Dominic cynic who is designing video games of his own. In this first act, LeBron takes on a stern and scolding parent role. This isn't how you want to see an exaggerated version of him. You want to see him dunking, laughing, and sinking three-pointers. But the movie skips over all of that. It just assumes you absolutely know who he is. When you go see a movie about LeBron James teaming up with the Looney Tunes to presumably fight some sort of alien-themed basketball team, you want it to be fun. This movie doesn't care about that at all. He's a stern stick in the mud for the majority of the interminable 2+ hour runtime.
Outside these lines, be as loony as you want. But inside, you do what I say.
The main thrust of the film centers on LeBron embarking on a fetch quest through the Warner Brothers archive of intellectual property. Shock of all shocks, LeBron's son gets troned into a fictional digital world, and the GOAT has no choice but to try.
Listen, you could say what you want about the first Space Jam. It had a good story plot. You had the monsters up there on Moron Mountain. They wasn't getting any play. You know, the kid was like, it stinks, don't bring me here anymore. And he's like, yo, we need some new attractions. And then they end up seeing the Looney Tunes. Like, yo, they're funny. You know what I mean? And then they went down there and was like, yo, we here to get y'all. And then it's just like, all right, we'll pretty much be on your attractions or whatever if you win us at basketball, beat us at basketball. And y'all know the story. This here, unnecessary.
And rescue him. This is, on its face, a blatant attempt at cribbing the financial and cultural weight of the nostalgia.
But then another thing that I didn't like that they did with the sequel is that they made it CGI. You know, there's just some cool aesthetic about them having the human and the cartoons paired together, like in Roger Rabbit, you know, movies like that. Like, this CGI stuff is just overkill.
Of the late 2010s, and tying it to Space Jam. The only problem being, the movie has nothing to say about that other than, hey, remember these things that you used to like? Which the viewers of this movie, who are theoretically children, absolutely do not. Does a 9-year-old who would be interested in watching Space Jam: A New Legacy even know what The Matrix is? In its very base form, we're here to watch a movie about LeBron James teaming up with the Looney Tunes. But then there's this weird father-son story that paints LeBron as the bad guy, this insane nostalgia play which is fundamentally flawed, and then, to add insult to injury, you have to watch Don Cheadle die inside, on repeat. This man was nominated for an Oscar, and he's basically playing a clown for 2 hours.
Make you feel all insignificant, don't it?
The end result of this cinematic trash pile amounts to a little less than a middling journeyman director jingling a pair of keys at a newborn baby. The weirdest aspect of Space Jam: A New Legacy is that it doesn't understand what to do with LeBron. The Looney Tunes also don't have any significant character development or plot function. They're barely the co-stars of the movie. The real co-stars are the bevy of Warner's controlled IPs that are littered throughout the film, which is as depressing as it is befuddling. The film features a pat and corrosive arc where LeBron learns to be less of a stick in the mud and enjoy basketball again while also reconnecting with his son. If you're not careful, you might cut yourself on the gym.
Yo, the acting is just horrible, man. The acting is just horrible. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a phenomenal basketball player. I'll give him that. But he can't act. And I know some people say Michael Jordan, he didn't do that good of a... Compared to this, Michael did all right.
Jagged edges of its cynicism protruding from every angle of this 24 frames per second abomination. To make things even more bizarre, the member berries that the film is trafficking in aren't even the actual pieces of intellectual property that are so foundational to our culture. Instead, they are stand-ins for them, literally. In the climax of the movie, the Toon Squad face off against the newly remixed Goon Squad. There's a big CGI court and loads of characters from different movies. It should be super fun. This is your Ready Player One visual extravaganza. We've got King Kong and the Iron Giant and the cast of Clockwork Orange standing next to each other. Wow, so impressive, right? Well, when you squint, you see that these characters are people dressed as those characters, like literal cosplayers. Have you ever wanted to see Burt Ward's Robin cheer and boo while standing next to Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze? Well, now you can. It's so distracting, you almost physically can't pay attention to the already dreadful schlock oozing out of the television screen. It really should be the death rattle for an entire era of nostalgia, trademarked, but because we live in a cruel and unforgiving world, that can't happen, no matter how hard it begs to be put out of its misery.
You're gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right. Please. Kill me.
At the end of the day, Space Jam: A New Legacy is about a decade too late. This movie should have come out when LeBron was in his prime, either around his championships in Miami or his return to Cleveland. It's less a movie than
Or
a
just not
bundle
come out
of
with it at
failed
all.
promises, duct taped together with goodwill and the cultural relevancy of LeBron James. Space Jam: A New Legacy had ostensibly a blank slate. All you really have to do is just show LeBron playing basketball and having fun. The former is there in slick CGI-drenched spades, the latter completely neglected. In a movie like this, maybe leading with the youthful exuberance and joy of playing basketball is a good idea. However, seemingly no one within a 10-mile radius of the camera has ever even touched a basketball, let alone understands why it's beautiful. In many ways, this feels like those previously mentioned vampire-fanged executives were seeing if they could pull a fast one on the American people. Could they release?
I'm wondering if they actually got Don Cheadle to play in this because of, his part he played in the movie Earl the Pearl, the GOAT. If y'all ever seen that movie, Rebound, that's the name of the movie, where he played, he was portraying Earl Mandigoat. If you know, you know.
A film with almost no effort put into it. A charitable perspective on this acidic dog and pony show is that it's performance art.
This idea is just straight up bad. That algorithm is busted.
A more realistic assessment is that it's a money laundering scheme cooked up with the Sinaloa cartel. The good bad news is that this craven effort didn't really work. The film only barely made its $150 million.
Damn. And see, this movie came out like during the whole pandemic thing, so it didn't stay in theaters very long. It like was in movie theaters and then it immediately went to streaming platforms. I think it was HBO Max is where it went because that's Warner Brothers. But clearly this is, matter of fact, he might even mention it, but just in case he don't, let me look up something real quick. Space Jam. Let me just look up Space Jam. Let's see what Wikipedia has to say. Okay. I seen all I needed to see. Came out in 96. They had an $80 million budget. It grossed $250 million in the box office. So, calculator, I should know this off the head, but I don't. Let me see. 80 million times 3. So they basically made triple what it cost them to make the movie. They made their money back and doubled it. So yeah, that's all I need to see. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Million budget back, so sorry El Chapo. The most depressing part of all of this is that it doesn't even seem to have had the intended consequences. Kids don't seem to like this movie at all. Sure, if you've got a developed prefrontal cortex, this movie is like injecting unfiltered regret into your bloodstream, but many adults haven't understood films made for children before, and they've eventually evolved into classics down the road. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Willy Wonka, and even The Phantom Menace have all been culturally reappraised. Only time will tell if this film gains a new legacy.
Never erase what I saw from my brain!
However, I'd be shocked if that happens. In fact, I'd be willing to put money into one of those scammy gambling sites that sponsor the NBA now, just to prove it. I bet there's nothing shady going on there, but that's a story for another time. And well, that's all we have for this episode of Nerds.
All right, that's the end of the video. Hey, man. Space Jam is a classic, okay? Now, whatever that was that Warner Brothers came out with, I don't know what that was. And I know for those out there who are LeBron fans, things like that, look, this is no knock to the basketball player. You know, he's a phenomenal basketball player, like I said, but he's not Jordan. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, Space Jam: A New Legacy. I didn't go to the movies to see that. I watched it when it was available for stream because I wasn't going to see that in the movies. I did buy the Tommy Hilfiger jean jacket because I thought that was pretty dope. It's got it has Marvin the Martian on the front, and then it's got Bugs Bunny on the back, you know, spinning the basketball. I thought that was pretty cool. That would have been something I would have liked to have seen. But I recently just got me a Space Jam t-shirt. It came up on my my Instagram timeline. And I was like, damn, that's a dope shirt. So I went on ahead and brought that. So y'all will be seeing it on these reaction videos from time to time. But yeah, y'all get down in the comments. Y'all let me know if y'all was fortunate enough to see Space Jam when it came out in '96. And if you agree with me that Space Jam, the first one, was a really good movie. I'll be sure to link this video down below in case y'all want to check out some more of this guy's videos. Go support. If you made it this far into my videos, like I'll be saying, I appreciate y'all. It means a lot to me that y'all be watching. Make sure you like, sub up to the channel. And until the next video, it's Robbie. I'm out.